Here's a fun little fact about me. I can be a huge skeptic. Sometimes when certain things get super hyped up or they're really popular, I just it makes me resist them more. For example, I literally just got an air fryer. People have been raving about these things for years. I'm not sure why I thought hundreds of thousands of people and entire websites and Instagram accounts dedicated to a kitchen appliance could be wrong. Now I have it and I literally use it pretty much every day. A lot of this is also true for just general organizing trends. I see them and I'm like, I don't know if that would really work. But as history continues to repeat itself, many of them really are super great. So I thought that I would sit here and share with you the top 5 sort of organizational systems, things that are kind of hype that I kind of resisted at first, and then once I started doing them, I absolutely love them. And honestly, without trying to over exaggerate, they've pretty much changed my life, or at least changed the organizational portion of my life. Number 1 is decanting things. This is taking things out of the containers and the packaging they come in and putting them in cutesy little containers that match. I mean, obviously this looks really, really nice, but there was always a part of me that wondered if it really worked and if it was really sustainable. I feel like what finally made decanting be this light bulb moment for me was when I decanted all of my kids' toys. And when I say decant, I essentially just mean that I'm taking anything out of the packaging it came in and I'm putting it into a more practical and cohesive bin. Before, I was trying to store all of these toys in the boxes they came in the bins that they came in. The tops never stay on right. The corners of the cardboard boxes always break. You're always missing pieces. You can never get the product back into the box the way that it came when they packaged it. I don't know what kind of voodoo they are doing when they package things. You can never get anything back into the packaging as good as the first time. So I did just this huge decant of my kids' toys. Everything came out of the boxes and the bins that they came in and the packaging that it came in and went into matching bins. And this was so much easier for a lot of reasons. One, these bins were structured, the top stayed on, there's plenty of room to get the toys in and out, especially whether it was me doing it or it was my kids doing it. But not to mention, these things just fit really easily on shelves now, unlike mismatched game boxes that are falling and tumbling all over. So it was just so much more functional. That process of doing that was really the moment when I was I think that this can really work and it can work in other places. And so that's when I started implementing it in places like my spice cabinet and in our pantry. And I think the big hate that decanting gets a lot, especially in the kitchen, is 2 things. One, what do you do with the overstock, right? When you pour the flour into your flour bin and now you have extra flour. And 2, people are isn't it more time consuming to manage it because you're having to take everything out of the bag and then put it into another bin? To answer the first question, I have overstock bins. This is something that I learned from when I hired a professional organizer. I will link that video down below. But essentially, if you're going to decant things, you still have overstock bins. So this is if there's a little bit of surplus for something, you have just an overstock place where it goes. So I have an overstock bin for my spices, I have an overstock bin for my pantry items. As far as does it take extra time, it takes me a little bit longer to put my groceries away, but the time that it saves me in just general organization, general maintenance of my pantry and my kitchen area, prep time when I'm cooking, because it is so much easier to see everything, is well worth the few extra minutes that it takes me when it's grocery putting away day. Not to mention, I find that I have way less food waste. I'm using way more of my food up. I'm not buying products that I already had because I didn't realize I had them because they were all just shoved into the pantry in all of these mismatched bags and boxes. Number 2 is file folding. I think that this was a big thing that came around with the magic art of tidying up. If you don't know what this is essentially instead of putting your clothes into your dresser the way that we usually do when we're stacking our clothes vertically, you're folding them so that you can stack them horizontally. Is that the right way? Yeah, you're not stacking them upward, you're stacking them widthwise in the dresser. Sure, this looks really, really nice, but it's actually so much more practical than storing things in your dresser the old traditional way. I've said this before, but anytime you have a storage or organizational system where you have to dig, you have to pull some things out to get what's underneath, this usually never works. It's not sustainable. So file folding is the way to go. I actually started it with my kids because especially kids' clothes are small. It was really nice to be able to see all of their clothes vertically vertically, and my oldest is old enough that he like wants to dress himself, so he likes to be able to open it, see his shirts, pick out the shirt that he wants, and it's a lot easier for him. And then I adopted it in my own dresser. It was like such a game changer. It was so much easier to get dressed, to see what I needed. And then just recently, I was rage cleaning in my husband's closet. He has a lot of strong qualities. Keeping his closet clean is not one of them. And I was like, I'm organizing this entire thing. And I file folded all of his shorts, all of his t-shirts, all of his sweatshirts, like file folded everything. And he freaking loves it. I get questions a lot from you guys when you're like, what do you do when you live with someone or you're married to someone who doesn't want to be as organized or as tidy as you or do the things that you want to do? I always just say, like, you do you. Like, I always just focus on what's gonna work best for me, and I typically find that the things that are the most beneficial and helpful, he follows after. And this was one of them that like right away he's like, wow, this is so much more efficient. Like, I can literally just see the shirt that I want and I can grab it, it stays tidy. Number 3 is labeling. Sure, we've all seen the beautiful organizational structures with all of the labels, and sometimes we're like, is that really necessary? Like, is it really necessary to label something in a house where you live? Like, you know where the stuff goes. It's not like an office where multiple people have to be like, where does the paper clipper? I was gonna call it paper clipper. Oh my God, what is a stapler? It's not a paper clipper, although that's not a bad name. I mean, it does clip the papers. But I can get how sometimes people are like, labeling seems a little bit excessive. But here's the thing, is even if you live somewhere and you've been the one who gives something a place where it belongs, there's a very good chance that one, you're not gonna remember every single home that you gave to something, right? You got a lot going on in your brain. You may not remember exactly which spot you dedicated in your drawer to be for the scissors. Our working memory can only hold on to so many pieces of information, and it tends to kind of like drop the less important information. So one, it just helps act as a reminder for you when you've taken the time and the energy to create an organizational structure, you now then can kind of remember exactly how you set it up in a way that it works. 2, obviously, yes, it's gonna help with family members so that they know exactly where things go. But 3, I just find that in general, it tends to keep things more organized because it's mindless. Like, you don't have to even think about it. You don't even have to use recall in your brain to be like, where was the spot that this goes? When you have labels, it sort of helps things happen more automatically. Like, it's like a shortcut for your brain. It's why this is like another organizational like hype thing. When people organize things by color, like rainbow colored, sure, that looks really, really pretty, but there's actually like some science behind that, that it helps keep you more organized because your brain doesn't have to think about it. Like, you're just holding it, it's yellow, it goes with the yellow. All right, number 4 is bins, and this is a little bit of a tricky one. Lots of times when you are organizing, sometimes we can convince ourselves that like, we just need another bin and that will solve all of our problems. So this can be sort of a dicey situation because usually it's like, you don't just need another bin, you need the right bin. For a little while, I was sort of skeptical on some bins because I just found that sometimes they just became collectors of things. They weren't really helping me necessarily stay more organized, but I am a very strong believer in using bins and dividers when they're done in the right way, because lots of times when we're storing things on shelves, in drawers, you know, you have a single shelf and you have a lot of stuff you want to store on that shelf or in that drawer. And bins are going to help you to manage it better, to organize it better, to structure it better. So I'm going to give you a few examples from our kitchen. Okay, so the first example is for like my glass food storage containers. My organizer told me to get bins to store these, and I'm not gonna lie, when she told me to do this, I was like, this is just crazy. Like, this is like reckless. I don't need bins for my food storage containers. That seems like it's gonna be ridiculous. But I followed along and I stored all of my food containers into bins, and I can just tell you it's been the best for my food storage, because everybody knows with food storage, one of the biggest issues, right? You can never find the tops to go with the bottoms. You're opening the cupboards, they're all falling out, it's a big mess. But when you have bins, it's helping to contain that. It's keeping the tops with the bottoms. It also acts as a sort of like step for you, where before, when I just had all my food storage in a drawer or in a cabinet, when I was doing the dishes, I would just throw it up there, right? There wasn't really any purpose or incentive or reason for me to put it back in any sort of method. But these bins basically force me to put things away more organized. I have to find the top and the bottom and put them together in order to put that container away. So that's an example of how a bin can be used really, really well. Another example is the drawer that has like kids snacks as well as the kids cups. These are regular drawers. If I just threw snacks in here and I threw cups in here, it would be a jumbled mess in a hot second. But I got these bins that have little wheels and essentially pull out, which basically turn this regular drawer into kind of like a pull-out drawer. And then they also have dividers inside of them, so I'm easily able to organize the cups, the tops to all the cups, and then my kids' snacks and then I can put them into the cabinet, and then when I need to get anything out, I can easily just pull it out, sort of like it's a drawer. It's not about like buying the bins before you have an idea of what you're doing. Like you really need to think about the idea of what you need to organize first, the space that you are organizing in, and then buy bins for that space, as opposed to buying cute bins because you're at Target and they're on sale and then bringing them home and not having the right space for them. All right, the last and final one for me was in my linen closet. I don't know if this is necessarily like a height thing really, but I feel like a lot of us have seen like these TikToks and Instagram reels and whatever with like different folding hacks for how to fold things. And some of them are a little bit crazy, but the best one that I ever learned was for folding my linens. And I shared this in a video where I reorganized my linen closet. Not only did I finally learn how to fold a fitted sheet, but then it was a little hack on taking the fitted sheet, folding your pillowcases with it, and then using the top sheet to essentially store it all together. And so now I have an entire like set of sheets that I need for a single bed, all stored in like a nice little package. And this was a total game changer for me because I was one of those people who was like, I could never find the pillowcase that matched the fitted sheet. And then like I had like a blue top sheet and a gray fitted sheet, and like nothing ever matched. And then I would go to have company and I could never find a matching set of sheets. By just taking the simple little hack of folding them all together and creating this little package, it's such a breeze now. Anytime I need clean sheets, whether I need them for my bed or we're gonna have company, I can just go into the linen closet. They're a nice little package. I can take them out and I'm good to go. But there you have it. That was my 5 sort of like viral, overhyped organizing systems and structures, or whatever we want to call them, that I didn't necessarily agree with or like believe were going to be great, but actually are super, super amazing. If you've tried any sort of like viral organization trend, let me know in the comments down below if you liked it, if you didn't like it. I would love to hear your thoughts, but as always, thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I hope you are having a fantastic day. Remember to be kind to yourself and others, and I will see you all in my next video.